And meeting will come to order at 7:02. As I said, Mark Jackson will be a few minutes late. Do we all read the minutes from October 26th? And are there any changes?
I looked, I don't see any changes.
Okay.
So absent that, I'll move to accept the minutes.
And we need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I think that's unanimous.
No, Dana, I'm going to abstain. I
Oh,
wasn't
that,
at the-
okay.
I wasn't at the meeting.
And is there anyone here for public participation? I don't see one.
Doesn't look like it, Dana.
Nope. So next up, reports. Norwalk Historical Society and Diane Jelleret.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving. We've now recovered from our haunting, which went very well in October and had lots of fun. And coming up, starting December 1, tomorrow night, we have a virtual lecture, History and Folklore of Santa Claus. So if you ever wanted to know how it all started, come to our lecture tomorrow night. It's virtual, starts at 6:30. The guest speaker is Laura Keys, and she's actually a library director. So this is her side gig, and she's a lot of fun. So if you had some time, please join us at 6:30 tomorrow night. And then next we're going to have our holiday open house on December 11th on a Sunday. All of you are invited. It's free. We are collecting donations for Open Door Shelter. So if you bring a non-perishable item, that would be your admission charge. We'll have hot cider, holiday treats, and some wine for the afternoon. So it's Sunday, December 11th, 1 to 4. And we're also going to have some music. There's a young cello group that is going to play starting at 2 o'clock for our holiday open house. So please come, enjoy. All the buildings will be open, or just come and get warm and start your holiday off. So that's what we're doing, and we're continuing to work on the sessioning of all the museum collection, and Darren's doing a wonderful job with that. So we continue on, and then we'll start a new year. I'll be applying for a couple of grants for Connecticut Humanities. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming up in the next 2 years. So stay tuned.
Great. Thanks, Diane. Next up, Susie Gilgore for Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me and for all your support. We've had a very busy fall. Halloween tours were booked solid. Then we just recently had a ceremony for our Young Writers competition. We had Mayor Reeling, Senator Duff, and members of the Board of Ed. And the winners won. The first prize was for a student from West Rocks Middle School. He won first place, and the others were from schools in Westport and White Plains, New York. We've had an interior design class coming in from University of New Haven. We just opened the new holiday exhibit titled Holiday Wonderland at the Mansion. And the exciting news of the day is that we have been nominated for the third year in a row for one of the 10 best historic holiday tours in the US by USA Today. Please vote on our website if you can, because right now we are qualified at number 6, but it'd be wonderful to go further up. In any case, be wonderful to still be among the 10. We did win the past 2 years. We qualified as one of the 10 best. That's makes national news, so it's always very positive for our tour experiences and our visitors and our members. So if you can go on our website and vote, we would be very much appreciative.
So when does the voting end on that?
So the 9th, November 9th is the last day.
December
And
9th.
then as of, I think, end of the week, they're gonna shut down our opportunity to see who's in the running.
Mm.
So we're voting blindly in the hopes that we'll qualify.
So you said December 9th?
December 9th.
Okay.
Do
Vote
you have any,
often.
questions? I know that Patsy Bresh, I don't know if she's here today, but she's had problems with her computer, but she wanted to talk as well about the construction, but I could call her on the phone if you want.
Doug's here.
Okay, so maybe Doug can.
Yeah, I'll give you a fill-in. My video is not working tonight, so you're looking at Surf City, that's North Carolina. It's a little bit warmer there. We had the bid openings last week. They were very disappointing. We had actually 9 trades that did not bid at all, and 2 of them being essential, one being plumbing, plumbing bids, and we had no HVAC bids. So what it means is that we're going to have to go out and rebid again to the process. The city's handling it for us, the purchasing department, where we've reached out to a lot of the bidders to find out what maybe some of the issues are, and talk to them about rebidding and finding out why they didn't bid. Some of it was that it was set too short of a deadline. They had other priorities, easier projects to bid on. So they either did not bid at all or just bid high. It's typical. I do that for a living. I understand where they're all coming from. So our timeline has for now changed. We're staying flexible. It's anticipating that hopefully right after the first of the year, we'll be out to bid again with the city. We're going to allow them 3 to 4 weeks this year, this time around, to respond, to give them enough time to respond. But I think by the time we get it sorted out, it'll be somewhere in late February. So, and then March, and depending on funding, et cetera, Tom, you know how that goes. We are probably figuring that if we started construction, would probably be June or July. So it's disappointing, but I tell you what, Patsy's been her tenacity and her drive. We've done a lot of prequel stuff and getting the certain collections and going through our collections and reassessing some materials and getting organized, preparing for moving. So we've made a lot of leaps and bounds with that. I think Patsy would always tell you every week we're on the phone with Christine from the state of Connecticut and others from the state of Connecticut. We're constantly in touch with them. They're aware of it. City's aware of it. Mayor's aware of it. I know, Tom, you're probably aware of it. That's where we are. Any questions? So we're thinking about planning for opening, but we're staying flexible right now. Any questions? You're muted, Susie. Susie, you're muted.
Oh, now you're muted again.
You remuted yourself.
You're
No,
muted.
All
there
right.
you go.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Patsy just called and she said she's on the line, but someone has to let her in, she said. And she wants to talk.
Okay.
Michelle can probably do that, or
Yeah, I see
Yeah,
her. There's a
okay.
number on, so let's bring her over. I think she just has to unmute.
There you go.
Hello?
Okay.
Ah.
Hi, everybody. I've been trying to say I'm here, but I think Doug has pretty well covered everything. I just really wanted to let you know that I was here because I haven't been able to make some of the meetings because of charter revision meetings conflicting. But as Doug indicated, we are staying focused and going to make this happen. So I don't know if there were any other questions while I was trying to get in. Did anybody have questions of Doug?
No, the thing,
What were the, just couldn't, my volume wasn't up high enough before. What were we were lacking plumbing? Who was not bidding on what items?
well, there were 9
it's-
trades.
Or 9 trades?
Okay, Patsy, go ahead, Patsy. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the contracts were broken down pretty much into real biddable sections in order to try. We thought that would attract more bidders because it's such a complicated project, and we thought that might work. And so, therefore, there were a lot of disciplines. One of them was, as Doug said, the plumbing. One of them was the protection plan, which is super important to us for installing protection on all of the walls on the first and second floor and the grand staircase. So it's an amazingly complicated bidding process. And with everything going on, so much construction, the bidders were saying, you know, we got a lot of work. We need more time to put our bids together. In addition, one of the bidders that we thought had worked on the mansion previously was called back because they didn't bid, although they took out the documents and we thought that they would. And we learned afterwards that they had just been awarded a bid for the Barnum Museum in Bridgeport. And so they were in the middle of that during our bid process. So our consultants have gone back to everybody in the trades and learned different reasons why people didn't bid. And so we're now trying to structure a bid package that will respond to those issues. More time, different packages, that kind of thing. So that's what we're working on.
Okay.
And I forgot one thing, our open house is Sunday, all right?
And
And
Santa Claus is coming.
Whoa.
Santa
That's
Claus
right.
is coming. Yeah.
Okay. Have we covered everything for the museum, Lockwood? I think.
Yes,
Think
Okay.
so. Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, everyone. Next up, now I don't see David, I think might be away, so,
David is in Germany.
right.
I talked to him yesterday,
Mhm.
but he's in Germany.
So our reports are usually from David. I guess we should start getting reports from our, Tom, what's the name of our group that's gonna be overseeing buildings and stuff? Do you know the name?
You mean from the city?
Yeah,
Oh, Guardian Services.
oh, Guardian, okay. So they're, outside the city, they're hired by the city
Yeah,
contractor?
but I mean, I can talk to Alan. Alan is pretty,
Okay.
Alan Lowe, that is, and he's pretty
Yeah.
tied up. So we should coordinate before the next meeting to get a report.
Okay. Cemeteries, I haven't, I guess we usually need to check after a storm, which I haven't checked recently. Financials also, David is doing those. Is that something else we need to find someone to do within our group, or before we overwhelm David.
I would think you'd want somebody to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we are still short 3 commissioners, I think, so that's something we should always keep in mind for,
Well, if you guys have recommendations, let me know and I can bring them to the mayor, or Dana, you can.
okay. Yeah, anyone with recommendations. So we'll wait on financials for next month. Next up is old business. There's Mark. Do we have anything for old business?
Dana, I don't know if you want me to talk about this now, but I wanted to report on the demolition delay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be added to the agenda, but anyway, just briefly, we presented the proposed amendments to the demolition delay ordinance. These are the ones that were discussed by this commission last month, I think, or the month before, I can't remember which it is. That really the one area of question, which continues to be an area that gets raised all the time, is the age of the buildings covered by the ordinance. As you know, it's 50 years right now. That's the way it has been. And that's what I guess the Connecticut models code has 50 years. There's some questions about whether that is an appropriate number, given now we're talking about houses built in the 1970s. But I raised that because it comes up quite a bit, and there's some concern also in the some of the city projects, like the facade improvement projects, and they're worried about that as well, that adds additional burden on renovating some buildings. I don't know how big an issue that is for them, because I don't know what I'm guessing the age of the building facades they're redoing are more than 50 years. I just don't know, but that was raised. So I guess I throw that out there. I don't know what the commission's view is. Todd, you may want to chime in on this. But before you do, I just want to note that one of the things we've been looking at is to actually do an inventory of historic properties, right?
Yeah.
And Todd, you could talk about that. The redevelopment agency was proposing to use some of their funds to hire an outside consultant to come in and do an inventory. That inventory would be used to, in essence, replace the 50-year threshold and make it a lot easier to administer the delay ordinance. We would just look at what properties are on that inventory. Obviously, we'd have to keep it up to date. So that's in the works, but Todd, I don't know if you want it right now. It's not done. It will take some time to do, probably not before the end of next year or mid of next year. I don't know. Todd, you want to weigh in on any of this?
Yes. I mean, the key, what confuses people is the number, the 50 years old and older. But the real issue is significance more than age. And the reason that everybody uses 50 years old or older is because that's the threshold for the National Register of Historic Places. But clearly, every building that's 50 years old does not qualify for the National Register, nor would every building that's 50 years old be worthy of a demo delay. It's all about significance. You got to have a place to start, and that's as good as any. And it's pretty much the nationally recognized threshold. And it's included in the National Historic Preservation Act of 1966, and they meant it to be a moving target, because there are houses that would need to be looked at that are 50 years old. Look, I don't know, Bill Collins' house, for example. I don't know how old that is, but that is a spectacular piece of modern architecture in a fantastic setting. And if someone were to buy that house and want to demolish it, it's not 100 years old, but it's certainly significant, and it's significant, for a lot of reasons. Even if we just do architecture, it's significant, and that would not make it if you raised the threshold to 100 years. And to the point of the resource inventory, what we have is woefully inadequate. I think pretty much everybody agrees with that. It takes a long time to do these things. It takes about a year to do 150, 200 buildings. Because the way the state requires it to be done is that well, here, let me back up a little bit. The state has $20,000 grants, which are non-matching grants. It's $20,000 worth of free money for these inventories specifically. And they are they want to give this money out. That's the reason it's not a matching grant. And they're done all over Connecticut, but to do it, a city the size of Norwalk is going to take years. So in the meantime, I think this 50 years old or older, which is just the point at which you start looking at the building, it doesn't mean that it's significant or worthy of a delay.
Did you get hold of Brian Bedoli on that 20,000?
I called him today and I left a message, but he didn't get back to me.
Good. I'll touch base with him as well. I think Todd summed it up pretty well, as he always does on this stuff. So I'll go back, unless there's a different feeling with this commission, I'll go back to the ordinance committee and relay what was discussed and the rationale, and probably have Todd come to the next meeting to say what he just said. And we'll continue to move forward with that, or try to move forward.
Yeah, thank you. It's an important issue, and it's one that towns all over the state deal with. But I think once you look at it from the standpoint of significance rather than specifically age, it becomes a lot clearer.
Right. And I think the key part that people miss, they automatically assume it's 50 years old, it's 120 or 180 day delay, but that's not the way it works.
No.
Right. And people just don't realize that. So I think they have to understand better how the ordinance actually works. So we'll go back to them and let them discuss that with them.
Right.
Dana,
Yeah, I like the 50 years old because I think Rowayton Historical had 75 years, other towns had 75 years, and they were at danger of losing like mid-century moderns, Harvard 7 type architecture. So
yeah.
sticking with 50 years is good.
Yeah,
Dana, what
exactly.
happened?
Go ahead.
What happened with 2 Crockett Street?
I was advised by the state that there wasn't enough worth saving. There wasn't even, I had an online petition, there wasn't enough to qualify it to be worth saving.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I hate to agree with that, but I mean, if you look at the historic picture and then you look at it today, there's almost nothing left, and that's another case of it's kind of significance. How much significance does it really have? Well, I mean, there's not enough left of that house that we see in that historic image to count, unfortunately.
So looking at that as an example, we put a delay on that, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah, because
And-
it's in a National Register district and all of that.
Right. So how long were they actually delayed before you said, okay?
I was confused I'm still confused by the wording. It's like they'll put a demolition sign up, I'll put in a delay, and they'll say it's not an actual demolition permit. I haven't seen the difference between the intent to demolish and the actual demolition permit, but
Yeah, that was very confusing.
yeah, I mean, at least 30 days till I did withdraw that delay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, so if somebody's really worried about this, here's a house that really does have, at least we looked at it very carefully as having historic value. And even in that case, they were delayed 30 days. So it wasn't 180 days, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure the exact amount of days.
But give or take,
but-
it wasn't
yeah.
it wasn't an extensive delay for the commission to do its work.
Right.
Okay. I mean, that's good. That's a good fact to know when I come back to the commission,
Right.
to the ordinance committee.
Yeah, and Todd Levine is he's as tough as anybody on that stuff. And he and the rest of the staff up there agreed that there just wasn't enough left.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, so I'll keep you guys posted on next meeting. What happens in the next meeting?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't write that down here, but suddenly there was so much to talk about. So thanks, Tom. On to new business. We need to vote on the RFP for Lockwood Matthews Mansion. David sent around the single proposal we got, but we still need to vote on it. Darren's Raymond Locke makes me, probably all of us feel sort of inadequate human beings with all our qualifications. So did everyone read this? Okay, and how do we go about voting on this for this, Tom?
The item was on the agenda, right?
Yes. It's A, 7A.
Yeah, I didn't get, I mean, I got it through David. I don't know whether that was posted.
Okay. I did see that everyone's
We
name.
we got the minutes and the agenda sent from another person I wasn't used to. And it
Oh,
was like
Michelle?
little links. Yeah, I guess. It was a name I hadn't seen before.
Not Michelle. Michelle's been running the show for
Yeah.
a little bit now.
No, it's from
Oh.
Steve Kleppen.
Oh, Steve Kleppen usually sends the Zoom links, and Michelle is our city employee, so to speak.
Liaison.
Yes. Yeah, so David sent around this RFP from Darren. And this is for updating, just to review, updating the Lockwood Matthews campus, so to speak. So well, there was a few, was the carriage barn, the gate lodge, I believe, were left off of the original historic preservation nominations. So we want to make sure those all get in onto that list. Yeah, 8 outbuildings. And the
But it was on the agenda, posted agenda.
yes, this is yes. This
Okay.
is on the agenda. And people were sent this. I realized it's 7 o'clock, no, 6 o'clock, I realized, but then I checked my mail and saw that everyone had received it. So how do we go about voting on
Hey,
that?
actually, back up on that. So
sorry.
When I looked online and saw the agenda, are you saying the agenda wasn't sent out? When was that sent out?
I sent that out, actually, I sent it out before Thanksgiving,
Yeah, okay.
but I think I just sent it to Michelle because it has to get on the website. I have to send it by Friday.
So as
Or-
long as it was posted within 24 hours, right?
That I didn't check, but I know that, and then we did move ahead because of the
Well,
holiday.
Yeah.
Oh, it was on, yeah, it was on the city
It was
website.
sent November 23rd.
okay.
Okay.
It's been up for-
Yeah. I didn't look at it actually, but,
So if it
okay,
was properly noticed, then you can vote on it.
okay. Well, as long as all we know, all the commissioners know about it, is that?
No,
the-
no, it has to be publicly
Oh,
noticed.
public, okay.
And it was, sounds like.
Okay. That's correct. You saw this, Mark, you saw bleh. You saw this on the website itself, I mean, on the calendar?
No, I'm looking at my email. I mean, I got the email November 23rd
Okay.
from Michelle.
Yeah, I didn't look at what's on the calendar, though. I don't know how to do split screen, but
Well, Michelle, was
Michelle,
the agenda posted on the city website before yesterday?
Yes, it was posted before Thanksgiving.
There you go.
Okay.
November 23rd. Yeah, that's what Mark said.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
not just the schedule on the calendar, but the actual, okay. Okay. So I guess now can we vote on it, and how do I go about doing that? I don't know how to.
Call for a motion.
Okay, I'd like to call for a motion to vote for our single nomination, that's not the right word.
Well,
the
you can read the agenda item.
Okay, vote on RFP for LM Lockwood Matthews Mansion Museum.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So we are voting for Darren Raymond Locke to work on this RFP 4243 Professional Services, Lockwood Matthews Mansion National Register update. And how do we vote? I can't see. Who am I missing? Tom, are you able to vote or,
Yeah, I did vote. Yeah.
okay.
It's unanimous.
It
It's
looks-
unanimous? Okay. I don't know if Lisa's on here yet, but anyway, we do have a quorum and it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, next up on the list is,
Dana, can you
Yeah.
hear me? This is Patsy.
yes, hi. Oh,
I just wanted to make a point on that, on the last item.
Mhm.
David Westmoreland explained it to me about what you were trying to do. And I really think it would be appropriate if somebody from the commission articulates this concept and what you're doing to the mansion board so that they understand and, and understand what's happening and can be helpful with it.
okay.
There's been no official presentation or information given to the mansion, the museum.
Okay, I guess,
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works, how that chain of command works.
Well,
um,
I think somebody from your organization needs to write to the board, and maybe we have live meetings. We don't have Zoom meetings.
Right.
So maybe somebody could come to our third meeting, which is actually our Christmas meeting this month, December 15th. But I just think that's important that everybody understands what's happening and why it's important and significant to everybody.
Now this, would it be not, my brain doesn't work anymore. Would Ms. Locke be able to be the person to deliver this? Or should it be one of us?
I think it needs to come from the Historical Commission.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay, so December 15th at what time?
Well, 5:15, but, maybe you communicate
Right.
to Doug Hempstead, get it on the agenda,
Right.
so everybody, because I think I'm the only one that knows about it. When David Westmoreland told me about it, I told Susie Gilgore about it, but then I never heard anything more, and I didn't realize it was on tonight's agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
Our meeting is starting earlier on the 14th because we have our,
Good, Doug, you're still there. I didn't know you were still there.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just saying our meeting's starting earlier on the 14th because we're having our appreciation for our volunteers that evening.
Yeah.
Our annual event. So we're starting at 4, if I remember right, or 4:30. Susie, can't remember. 4:30. You're on mute, Susie.
She's still, we all gotta learn
We're
sign
starting a
language.
meeting earlier, so.
I think it's 4:30, but
Okay.
what I'll
Remember right.
do
If
is
you
I'll
can-
send you,
Yeah.
I'll send you the information so you know exactly what time
I
it
started
is.
early. So we want.
Dan, I'll send you the information
Prior
tomorrow.
information, I'm sorry, as much prior information we could get about this, the better.
Okay,
If we have a shortened meeting and I don't have the time to go beyond a certain point, that's my
Right.
only issue. Okay. Todd's got his hand up.
yeah, what day is that?
It's a Thursday, so it's Thursday, December 15.
Okay. Okay, I'll work out the best way to get this information to you.
Todd's got his hand up.
Yeah. Oh, Todd, where's Todd?
Hi, thank you,
Yeah.
Doug. I just wanted I explain, I think, anyway, why this is important. And most of it involves money. These early nominations, I think the mansion was nominated in like 77 or something like that.
No.
Oh.
71, 70, 71, 72.
So, yeah, I mean, that's like, you couldn't even, there was no National Register before 1966, and this was nominated in 71. And I write these things, or at least I used to. And if you go back and you look at some of these early nominations, it's almost like it's a really nice house and we think it's great, so put it in the National Register. That's not the way it works anymore. So first of all, there'd be an expansion of the significance of the existing building, and that doesn't give you any more money. But the fact that the outbuildings were not included in the original nomination means that they are not eligible for state historic rehabilitation tax credits, historic rehabilitation fund grants, and a whole lot of other stuff, because they are not technically listed in the National Register or State Register. So what this does is correct all those errors from 1971.
Oversights, let's call them.
Well, I mean, it's just the way
Yeah.
it was done at the
Right.
time. And it's just not done like that anymore.
Yeah, it was just it was stopping the bulldozers at that point, really.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, which is great. And I mean, this is not the only one. I mean, the early nominations are scary to somebody who's in this business. But they're still valid, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Um,
just another point on that, what Todd said, is that in 71, the Department of Public Works was in the car barn, the barn, and the fleet had a building where they kept all of their equipment. So they were, that might have been part of the reason they were not part of and it was the museum people themselves who pursued this and made it happen.
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's tying up all the loose ends and getting more bang for our buck, I guess.
Well,
Getting more bucks for our bang. I'll stop. Okay, so we did vote unanimously for Darren Raymond Locke to take on this project, and we'll come up with a better précis to present to the Lockwood Matthews Mansion Board for the next meeting, your next meeting. And I guess we can move on to the next item. I forget if David sent me this invoice for this AutoCast. I haven't listened to this myself. This is an audio tour of Norwalk, done by Eric Feinberg or Feinstein. And he has had his invoice being just sort of shunted around City Hall. It was originally started by the Arts Commission, and we agreed to take it on at some point. And it costs $2,000 a year. And I think we do have to pay him for this year. I guess it's a question of whether we want to keep on doing this, but I mean, all the work is there. I haven't listened to it myself, so. Has anyone listened to this yet, this audio tour?
Well, Dana, if I could,
yeah.
I got a call from this guy because, as you said, it was pushed around the bill. I mean, I guess there are two questions here. One, if we owe him money for prior years, that's the approval here. The next question is, do we want to keep it going?
Yes, that's the question.
Okay, so I think you want to deal with the first one first about whether, approving this. And we have the money?
I don't know about I have no idea what our bank account looks like. I know that we don't have a bank account, but what our
Well,
the fill
Dana,
in the
based
blank.
upon what you're saying, I would propose we table this till we have a sense, somebody who familiar with the finances can speak to that.
Okay.
Well, I have a question.
Mhm.
How did we get saddled with this? I mean, this doesn't seem like it would be Historic Commission business to me. This seems more like it would be if we had a tourism office for an audio tour of Norwalk, but this does not sound like it belongs on our plate to me. And I do not want to become the garbage disposal of city government, that anything they can't figure out what to do with, they're going to send to us.
It does kind of seem like that, but it was something started by the Arts Commission, and then we agreed to take it on. But you are
Well, this seems like
got a
Arts
point there,
Commission.
yeah, about who should be in charge of this. Yeah, it should be tourism. Do we have a tourism in Norwalk or some sort of?
Well, we absolutely do. You know, if that's, maybe you should talk to Jessica Vanashek, which in terms of what this should be in her budget, which is economic and community development. I mean, I hear the point that this may not be an appropriate item for this commission. I was reacting to the point that we apparently did accept it some time back. But
Yeah.
it's not a lot of money.
Well, I'm calling backsies. And I'm not talking about the street artists.
Well, why don't
That's
we,
Banksy.
Dana, why don't you
Thank
talk
you.
to Jessica?
Okay, I'll find her on the list of people.
Well, if you can, let me know.
Okay. Yeah, Eric's got a valid point there.
Don't get used to it.
No, oops. I'll have to tell Eric the bad news. He only calls me
No,
once
It's
a
not
week
bad
now.
news yet. It's just a matter of who's paying for it.
Right, yes. And I gotta remember to listen to it someday.
Dana, was the invoice wasn't sent out, was it? David just sent an email.
He sent it to me and,
Okay,
well, and I spoke to the fellow.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot of work on this and he should be paid. So, and whether, the next part of the question is whether we can want to continue, but then maybe this isn't even our department, as Eric said. So, we will table this for later. Do I have to do any sort of thing on that, Tom, if I'm tabling, for tabling something?
Vote to table. I mean, make a
Okay.
motion to table it and then vote. I'll move.
Okay,
to
I
table item.
move to table it till next month.
Okay,
Second.
Eric and Tom and all those in favor. I think that's unanimous. We need a Zoom thing where only the commissioners, not that I don't like the other people, should be up on the top there. Okay, so next thing on the agenda is the Merit 7 interchange inclusion on project. Somehow we were overlooked. And I'm not sure what our job is at the moment, but, or how we vote on this, I guess do we vote to be included? The guy in the state has my email address now, so perhaps we
Dana,
are.
Todd has his hand up.
Todd, Todd,
Hi, sorry to keep
Yeah.
butting in here,
that's
but are you
okay.
guys a consulting party to this in the section 106 process?
I believe that's what it is.
I
For
mean, if
whatever
you're not,
reason.
you should be.
Yeah, because somehow we got overlooked, or I don't know.
Well, you have to ask to become a consulting party, but most of the time, that's all you have to do, and then they just put you on the list. But it's very important to weigh in at this point, because we're down to two alternatives. I've been Preservation Trust and myself have been consulting parties on this from the beginning, from even the really awful alternative they had years ago. And they're now down to two alternatives. One of them is substantially better than the other, but it interferes with some identified Native American sites. that are, and they won't, it's very difficult to get information from transportation, who's the federal agency running the show, and or the state about what exactly they are. They're only talking to the tribes. We're not allowed to speak to the tribes. We don't even know, I mean, we sort of kind of know which tribes they are. There's been an MOA sent out, memorandum of agreement. You should definitely get a copy of that,
Mhm.
to support the obvious right choice in terms of the parkway. Might not seem that way to the tribes. I'm not sure.
Right. I do recall being in a lecture with Ernie Wigand about the Rock area. So like the shelters, there were shelters for bands of people. So I think that could be what you're mentioning.
Yeah,
I forgot to,
they won't tell us.
yeah, because
But what about FOIA?
It doesn't matter. Section 106 is kind of, I think, in its own world. I mean, I mean, it's worth it to play nice until you actually have to do that. Because they have more power than we do.
Has playing nice helped us so far on anything?
No, so it's kind of reverse intimidation. So yeah, let me bring that up with, I need to talk to, I just got a call, I wasn't here, but from Kathy Lavadia, who is the state, who's the archaeologist in the SHPO's office, who's also on top of this. So I'll see what she thinks.
yeah, I forget if I mailed this out to people. It was David who brought it to my attention and then named the guy in charge. He was deeply sorry that we hadn't been included or overlooked. So essentially, I'm assuming we are invited. So the question is, do we want to, I think the answer is yes, but I have to ask the commission whether we want to partake in this project, overseeing the project for that goofy intersection.
I think we have to.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the case, that we've been overlooked, then we need to see any documents that have been sent at this time that we have not had
Right.
access to. So then, I mean, like Todd said, we need to see all that stuff and whatever the plans are moving forward. So that's on them. They need to send us that stuff.
right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, so we need to make a motion to vote on getting included on this Merit 7 interchange.
I'll make a motion that we get added to the Merit 7 redevelopment. plan.
second,
Okay, so all in favor? And is that unanimous or I can't see?
Yes, it
Yeah.
looks like it is.
Okay. Okay, so that's unanimous and I'll get back to that fellow and make sure all that stuff is forwarded to everybody.
I mean, also, you may want to ask if we could have a special meeting and they just bring us up to speed, that may be quicker than us each individually reviewing all the documents as well.
oh, well played.
Yeah, I
Either
agree.
way.
That would be a better option.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree too.
You should still get them to send you at least the MOA,
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
you see where it is at this point.
okay. Last item is the. Let me just check. As we mentioned before, the Norwalk Historic Resources Inventory, which seems to have different names. Where'd that packet go? Okay, so we have a proposal. I received a proposal, or this will be sent out for surveying overlooked parts of the city. So there was a book, I even have half of that. It was in 2 binders that was done in the 70s with buildings on it that were like, of course, Lockwood Matthews Mansion, etc. And all the pertinent aspects. Now it's it's simplified online. What I was just looking at, I sent this out, right? Yeah, it's 19 pages, but on the last page has kind of the current list, but I have to check with the library to see if they have that older binder with actual pictures and listings that was done in the 70s. And again, as Todd said, whether we should just apply for a grant to get this done. They're talking about, and this seems even to me to be too much to get done in 1 year for $20,000. It seems that, again, Todd, you know, it could be a multi-year project. And so we are with the redevelopment, Norwalk redevelopment, and us are the people that will be reviewing whatever is added to the list.
So Todd has his hand up.
What?
Todd has.
So, yeah, I mean, I would recommend that you go to the state, that you go to Mary Dunn
Yeah,
and talk to her about that. And I have a meeting with Jeff Svanishek. And I mean, at one point, you know, she and Brian and I were all 3 going to have a meeting and talk about this. But I mean, the short story is you should go to the state and, you know, apply for this grant. They're more than happy to give them out, and it is free money. And you can go back to them as many times as you want to. So you can do it in maybe 200 building chunks and just keep going.
Now, what's the process for doing this?
The way it usually works is, you know, you get approved for the grant, you send out an RFP to the whatever their list is of people. And then this document requires a historic resource inventory form, which I think you can find online. I can send you something if
yeah, I think that's actually on it's on the last page of what I sent out.
Right.
So,
It's a
yeah.
historic resource inventory form for each building, and then a 20-page narrative about the history of the area.
So what's this business about need volunteers to field check the city?
When I first was told about this, I thought it'd be something like how it was done before. It was done by Ralph Bloom and 1 or 2 other people, and I'm not sure how they did it, whether they just walked around and actually studied the interiors of the buildings, or
Yeah, there's no interiors required.
okay, whether they just were able to tell from the street. And there was also photos attached to this earlier.
Yeah, it's kind of a primitive form of what's being done now.
Okay, and now physically, how is it done? I mean, obviously, it's not going to be volunteers.
But no, it's professionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's a $20,000 grant.
So Dana, I'm not sure what you're looking at. I didn't see.
Yeah, I didn't get anything, or I don't recall getting anything.
Just going forward, every agenda item should, you know, when you send out the agenda, so you should attach whatever the item
Okay.
is to it, so we can find it, because I don't know what
Okay.
this is. I do know, based on the discussion earlier, that the city and RDA, we're putting on RFP or Q, I'm not sure which it is, to get somebody to actually do the inventory, but we're talking about getting the funds to pay for it, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And then you have to, if you're gonna have this in the state system, it has to follow their rules. So, you know, you got to use their inventory form, and, you know, there are ways that you can tweak it a little bit, like how many times you use the same narrative, things like that. And it is useful, and they do occasionally mention this. So you could have like some kind of a volunteer event so that people could go out rather than have the professionals spend, you know, a lot of time driving around Norwalk and they don't know the area.
Mhm.
You know, you guys know a lot of places. I know a lot of places. And you can just ask people to, you know, kind of give them a basic what we're looking for and ask people to suggest areas of the city that should be included in this nomination or in this resource inventory. I think that'd be very useful.
But Todd, don't we ultimately want to do the entire city?
Yes.
Hmm.
But you're gonna have to, I mean, there's no way to do the entire city at one shot anyway.
Oh, sure.
So you might as well take the money and do it in chunks.
Yeah. So,
The only issue is that you can't have more than one grant at a time open with the state. So if you get this grant for Lockwood Matthews, then it's arguable about whether you could have another grant open for the resource inventory. My understanding is that the redevelopment agency is a semi-autonomous
they are,
organization. Is that correct?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Well, so that you might be able to finesse it that way.
So what are we doing now? Are we being
Well,
asked to?
No, well, now I don't know. I mean, that's up to you guys, but
I mean, if the
maybe-
RDA is gonna, if RDA is going to apply for the grant, then there's nothing really for the commission to do, right?
well,
Unless-
maybe you could just endorse it, you know, basically say, yeah, it's a good idea. We think you should go for it.
Yeah. Let's just make sure we're not, are we paying for this? Again, I guess this didn't go out.
Well, Dana, just on that point, the RFP they were putting out, and this is a question I had, said that the commission was paying for part of this, and my question,
Okay.
I don't know, we were, I didn't know, we never approved it to my knowledge, and I don't think we even
Okay.
have the money. I don't know what,
Yeah.
and that wasn't the discussion I had with the city had it, so the RDA was gonna pay it, then Todd came up with his other approach. So I would assume, just from what I know, the commission is not paying for this.
Okay,
Has that RFP actually been issued? Is it out there?
No, they were, I sent it to you guys for comments, Todd, you and David and Dana.
Good.
okay.
I mean, it'll be useful, but not in its current form and not until we talk to Mary Dunn.
Okay. Well, when you talk to Brian, could you talk about that with him?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And if we were to have some kind of could put on Facebook, but that kind of tends to be, if there's some way to moderate that, to propose to citizens that they could nominate buildings or neighborhoods.
Yeah, I don't think you want to not so much nominate. It's just kind of
Right.
just kind of
Suggest.
steer the professionals into making sure they don't miss something.
Right.
Like I'm
That
thinking,
seems like it would come after the fact, right?
Yeah,
That would
I'm
be-
cart before horse here, so.
and I'm thinking West Norwalk Road would be a great place.
Yeah.
Nobody's done much of anything over there.
But for tonight, what we're being asked to do is to endorse the filing of a grant application. Is that it?
Yeah, did you send me this? I think you did send me this.
Well, I didn't, me? What I
Yeah,
sent was an RFP for comment. That was to get somebody to actually do the inventory. That's not about getting the money.
okay. Yeah, I just didn't see.
because
Yeah, it actually does say funding sources is being funded in part, and this is probably
Well, again, that's my comment. I don't
Yeah.
think the commission is funding any of it.
right. That's when I have marked that also. So that's our question.
But the commission doesn't have that document. So, I mean, tonight,
Okay,
it's not much we can do about it, other than endorse the filing of a grant application. And I don't even know if that's necessary, but
okay.
it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe just endorse the idea of starting a new, you know, of restarting the inventory process and I think Michelle, did I send you all that stuff?
I think you sent me some stuff a while back.
Yeah, I sent you what I had, which is the 1970s inventory. And then there was another one a little bit later, and then there was some that we did, the preservation, or I think that city, actually, the historical commission did in, with a grant in, what, 2007 or something?
Yeah,
Can I make a motion, just to move it along, is just
Right.
to make a motion to restart and update the city's historic resource inventory and to apply for any and all grants that may be necessary or helpful to do so, and taking all actions related there to that. That's my
I'll
motion.
second.
All right.
All in favor? Who can see the hands?
It's unanimous.
Okay. Thanks, Tom, for filling in the blanks. So I'll send this around, and I just hope we don't start from complete scratch, whether we can, use what we've done before. Starting.
Yeah,
with-
Dana, if you could send that, I'm a little bit in the dark about that. So if you could send that out,
Right.
it'd be helpful.
Okay, so that's all that's on the agenda tonight, so,
Dana, if I may just toss something in
Yeah.
here. I make a motion that everybody have happy holidays.
oh, do we have to vote on that?
We have to second it.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I know Eric's favorite item is adjournment, so would you like to?
You know what? I'm in such a good mood. I will pass that pleasure on to somebody else this evening. Liz, you've been trying to make a motion all night.
I
Please.
motion, yeah.
Am I allowed to make a motion? Sure, why
Yeah.
not? Motion to adjourn at 8:04. And
Okay,
thanks,
Good night.
everybody.
thanks. Good night.
Good night.
Okay,
Happy
bye-bye.
everything.